Oh, look. Oh, beautiful. Oh, beautiful. Oh, the salmon. I hope it's coming here. Recently I got a salmon and it was 2 hooks in the mouth. So she ran away from somebody, at least from 2 fishermen, and I got it.
Many Torontonians are thrilled when they discover the surprising beauty of the Humber River. Vyacheslav Magmadov has recently come to Toronto from the Ukraine.
My first visit to Humber River was just curiosity, because I'm living next door to this river, and I was told that there's a lot of fish here, and it was in May. Humber was full of water. It was a big stream, very strong current, and fish was jumping around. Second day I went to the Canadian Tire for fishing rods. This was my 3rd day. So it was really amazing for me. Caught something like 12 or 13 fish. Oh, it was amazing. It was really amazing. It was calm, but only splash of jumping fish. A boom, 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 like somebody beat with a big bait by the water. It's really amazing, really amazing.
Many members of the public love Ontario's river waters, find repose being near them, and also love to fish.
Fishing for trout at that old beaver dam, and the log where I sometimes fell in. A time for adventures, time for exploring. Well, I wish I could be there again.
Newcomer to Canada. Firstly, they're excited. They're going for fish, and it's some summer fish you can count. It's very unusual for our country, like a rainbow, for example. And it's exciting both in terms of size you can got and amount. So I came here. It was like, you know, like a dream, really like a dream, because here I'm in the middle of the huge city, and over there I have to go something like 100 kilometers behind the city I came from to see this environment. Hi Kazimierz, how are you doing today?
All right, you've got in my face.
Any luck? There are some fish jumping over there on the cove, we saw it. A lot of people are going for rowing. Oh, another jump, have you seen it? I assume it's belonging to some society, rowing society. They come in at least every weekend, preparing for some competition. Here, look, for all type of activities. There's a yacht club just 20 meters from this creek, and people having a barbecue here. We are coming to another big hole in this river, just up north of the yacht club. Oh, people already fishing here. Hi guys, any luck today?
No, but lots of jumping.
A salmon already jumping?
Lots of jumping.
Unfortunately, Vyacheslav's early and very positive impressions of the Humber River have now changed drastically. About a year after his first Canadian fishing exploits, Vyacheslav noticed a strange odor.
There were at least 3 or 4 gentlemen around me, and I realized there is smell coming from somewhere. Smell of, not like a gas, but quite complicated smell of chemicals. But it's, you know, it's starting to bother me. Then I came in the daytime and checked the creek to the spot we're fishing on. And I find it out, oh look, it's a leachate coming from the bank, leachate of orange color, and definitely complicated chemicals coming out there, because orange stuff was everywhere, on the bottom, sediments, on the surface, oily, and smell. As soon as I move to this creek and touch it with stick, the smell immediately increased something like twice or thrice.
This source of pollution was right next to the yacht club, and when Vyacheslav moved upriver to another popular fishing hole, his experience was repeated.
So I move around, I move along the Humber River, and I find this another place, even worse than the first one, with very complicated chemical water quality content.
Vyacheslav had professional training in water quality issues while in the Ukraine and overseas, and he had worked professionally in the field of hydrogeology. so he was well prepared to start asking questions.
And contamination is very obvious. By the way, now you see the water moving from the harbor to the Humber River. 5 minutes, it was opposite direction, so moving up and down and washing out contaminants deposited in this harbor coming from this creek with groundwater to the Humber River. Look, look, it's excellent plumb. You see the contamination crown for this harbor, and now it's very obvious.
Vyacheslav also realized that many newcomers were eating the fish they had caught in the Humber River, as indeed he himself had been doing.
Last year, I don't know what's going on around, and so I brought fish at home. My sister fried, I made a fish soup. My friends made fish soups also.
It's very beautiful.
Freshly arrived immigrants are especially eager to try the free and tasty foods discovered in the backyard rivers of Canada's big cities.
But many people, specifically new immigrants coming here, like Slavic one, Croatian, Serbs, Polish people, Ukrainian, Russian. Some of them don't know English and they're getting very excited coming here. It's a lot of fish. You can cut it with your own hands. So fish is not very cheap stuff in shops here. It's quite expensive stuff. And so some of them definitely fishing for consuming this fish. I know that Chinese like carp very much. For Serbs, a carp is like a Christmas fish.
Vyacheslav became worried that he and his friends might get sick. He started asking questions.
So I went with this information to EBI.
The Environmental Bureau of Investigation and its main program, the Lake Ontario Keeper, or LOC for short, are linked to the U.S.-based Waterkeeper Alliance led by Robert F. Kennedy, Jr. LOC is one of 3 current keeper programs in Canada. Because he had already done some volunteer work for LOC, Vyacheslav told his friends there about his observations. They expressed considerable interest and wanted to look at the sites. Using his computer and other public information sources, Vyacheslav also contacted the Ministry of the Environment. He soon learned that the MOE tested river water solely for suspended solids and pH levels. Only LOC was ready to take practical steps to investigate his pollution discovery.
Then, of course, it was enormous interest of this point, and some more volunteers were involved. We took samples. Later on, I saw a lot of people, and I did acquainted with a lot of people who, on their own expenses, go with me.
LOC, as it is known, is a citizen-based neighborhood watch program for the lake. The LOC boat and its crew patrol the waters of Lake Ontario, and its crew also investigates its feeder rivers. They monitor pollution, publicize sources of contamination, and where necessary, take polluters to court. LOC's outreach activities include talking to people who work and play on the water. There are now more than 70 keepers worldwide. The Water Alliance oversees the formation of new keeper programs and licenses the use of keeper names. Since 1983, when it was founded in the U.S., the keeper movement has grown quickly.
Lake Ontario Keepers was just right place to come in.
LOC also attempts to link communities around the lakeshore, raising locals' awareness of Lake Ontario's many problems. The boat's volunteer crew monitor and document shoreline degradation and pollution sources, including sources upstream on creeks and rivers that feed the lake.
So people really care about the environment around.
So LOC set out to do some proper testing of both the sites that Vyacheslav had identified. He came along as an assistant. The results, obtained using independent certified laboratories, were found to constitute serious violations of Canadian law. LOC found lethal doses of ammonia, PCBs, and PAHs pouring into the Humber River from the Kings Mill Park landfill. In lab tests performed by Beak International Incorporated, all fish exposed to the leachate died within 24 hours. The test used involves immersing rainbow trout in the collected effluent and observing them for 96 hours. Charges can be laid if half the fish die in this time period. In this case, All the fish had died within the first of the 4 days allocated for the test.
The pH here is something like 1800 times exceeded the guidelines of Ministry of Environment. 1800 times. And plus some complex chemicals, pH and PCBs and heavy metals. I'm wondering, I don't know where it's come from, but it's quite a reasonable amount of strontium coming from here. I don't know why Canadian regulation has no restriction for strontium in water, but it's extremely dangerous contaminant, and in fact human being health, it's affect bones, the bones getting weaker, and in many European countries there is restriction for strontium, but not in Canada.
The dump Vyacheslav has been monitoring closed in 1965. It lies beneath Kings Mill Park, a popular but isolated 30-hectare expanse of grass and hiking trails on the west side of the Humber River. Works Department officials don't know when the dump was opened, how much garbage it contains, or if any industrial waste contributed to the mix.
The EBI asked Minister of Environment for information on former landfills, and we realized that it's more than 40 or 45 former landfills converted in parks and other stuff in the area of Toronto, big Toronto. Most of these landfills were put on site 40, 50 years ago. At that time, nobody took care about environment.
The huge landfill Vyacheslav stumbled on is just one of 77 such sites in Toronto. Interestingly, just a few meters from here, the City of Toronto has posted a sign threatening polluters with prosecution, vehicle impoundment, and a $10,000 fine. Locke will be visiting 21 other old landfill sites located directly on the Humber and Don rivers in the coming months. If you want a charge to stick, you have to have detailed notes, pictures of the problems, properly taken samples, and professional analyses. Everything must be done according to legal procedure. Check out the Citizen's Guide to Environmental Investigation and Private Prosecution. In pursuing its goals, Locke is hoping for the involvement of local fishermen, like those Vyacheslav has met.
You can find all nationality here. Chinese, Serbs, Croatian, Ukrainian, Polish.
The Lake Ontario keeper, Mark Matson, patrols this huge body of water in a special boat called the Angus Bruce, named in honor of Kingston's first unofficial waterkeeper. Angus used to monitor the toxic impact of a dump near Kingston. He wanted to see a cleanup program put in place. As official Lake Ontario keeper, Mark is now running a program that attempts to do just that, carry out the dream that Angus Bruce had.
We have a website that we've just announced, and we'll be publishing our studies. We'll be keeping our ship's log up to date on a day-to-day basis, letting people know where we are. We've posted already on there all the beach closings on the lake so people can get access to that. Kids can get access to our studies.
Mark Matson first met Janet Fletcher a number of years ago when he acted as her environmental lawyer. They shared a deep concern for the polluted state of the Kingston Harbor.
She had a daughter who actually swam off the beach that's just off the landfill, the public beach, and she indicated that her daughter actually used to come out of the water here with big rashes on her body.
Matson and Fletcher went to City Hall to look at old Kingston documents. They also went to the library and pulled out a bunch of detail on the history of landfills in the area. It was obvious that local river and harbor pollution problems had been studied to death.
Many, many years of research had gone into this harbor, which indicated that the ministry knew about the leachate leaving the site, the city knew about it, but really there just was no action being taken to stop the actual contaminants going into the Rideau.
Soon, Matson and Fletcher took the city of Kingston to court. Together, they also formed a grassroots group which later became Locke. In 1998, they successfully prosecuted the city of Kingston for allowing toxic leachate to seep into the Cataraqui River.
And hopefully groups like ours can make people aware in the neighborhood, these homes along the